Blake Anderson. Hold on one second. Let me get the chat up. Yeah, Jeremy's the man, right? I saw you guys trading. Ticker symbol FLT. And so we have Gilead open, right? Ticker symbol GILD. Hey, guys, good morning. Love the familiar names. Ram, what's up, buddy? How's everything going? Awesome to see you in the room. Did you get those videos? Howdy, howdy, guys. Good stuff. Lots of them there. So we'll keep this Gilead trade open. Let me see where Jeremy has his stop. So planned entry is 69.40, and 69.69 is the stop. Yates, what's up, my man? All right, give me 1 second just to get everything adjusted, and we will get to looking at the markets. For all the new people, type in a 1 if you're just loving the room this morning. Haha. Jeremy's the man, right? So 7 years experience trading the markets for me. And once I met Jeremy and the RLT gang, things really started to change for me. Great group of people. Just really tough. Hold on 1 second. Make a couple more adjustments. Turn on the camera so you guys can see me. Did shower this morning. Yeah, so 7 years, the RLT gang. So when I was starting to learn trading, all these teachers were out there, and very similar to how crypto markets have been recently, where everyone was talking about these extravagant vacations you could take and buying Lambos. And joining the RL team just really level set everything for me. So I was able to make consistent gains and just keep everything real. Ram, I know. So for you guys that don't know, Ram and I did a one-on-one session. I was rocking the backwards hat. No lucky hat today. Brandon's calling out a Microsoft trade. I saw Intel. Let me do one more thing so you guys can see my cursor. Try to make it as easy as possible for everyone. All right, so hopefully that allows everyone to see. First of all, let me go over with everyone that's new in the room, and maybe this will just be a good recap for everyone that's been trading alongside with me for a while. Got it. Brandon, I will for sure take a look at that. So let's hop over to one that we traded. FLT. So my indicators on, let's hop out to the daily, since it's the most important for me. I have 3 moving averages. I use the 200 simple moving average, which is this black line here. I use the 50 simple moving average, which is the red line here. And this gold line, I don't know if you guys can see it very well. Let's make it a little thicker. Boom. That is a 10 simple moving average. And really what I use that 10 for is when you have an accelerated uptrend like this, I do keep my position on until it hits targets or until we have one close below it. And you can see all the way up. There's that first close. Looks like people probably have some of the same idea, right? This red line, the 50 simple moving average, is really for more intermediate time frames for me. If it's trading above this, I'm bullish. If it gets below that, I start being more cautious. If I'm in this, or if I'm looking for a bearish trade, it may start giving me the green light. And then pretty easy to see, anything above the 200 SMA is going to be bullish. Anything below it, it's going to be bearish. All right, so that is the daily. Anyone have any questions, just let me know on that. And then for the intraday, I use two different indicators, or 2 different studies, shall I say. I agree, Jacob. So Jacob says, I feel like lunchtime is always slow for day trading. Yep. Jacob, I can tell you, and everyone else in the room, probably not going to be trading anything or at least not aggressively over lunch period. For me, most of my trades come like this in the morning with breakouts or breakdowns, or in the afternoon, I'll start looking for some some swing trade opportunities. Kind of seeing how these candles close for the daily. Rob says, what is the green font number? I should have taken this off. That's going to confuse you guys. You guys, I'll tell you what, Rob. You and I will go over it. I'm going to take that off for now. And you guys stick around long enough, I'll tell you what that indicator is. I'm on the mic twice with you guys this week. Today for an hour, and then Friday for an hour over lunch. Yeah, Seymour. Stick around. I'll tell you guys. Okay, here, I'll throw it out there. It's an NR7. You guys can Google that. So the letter N as in Nancy, R as in Ralph, 7. Basically indicates some consolidation over the last 7 candles. So I go over in detail what those indicators are, how I use them, which actual timeframes I use them on when we have a little bit more time. But I'm just going to go ahead and familiarize you guys with a couple of the other studies that I use. So VWAP, extremely important for me on the intraday. So let me go back here and show you a couple things. Ooh, you guys are talking AMD. I love trading AMD. So VWAP is this purple line, and then this blue line, which I don't really use it on the 1 minute, is the 10 exponential moving average. So the 10 EMA. I think you guys got filled right here, right? Jeremy is an amazing trader when it comes to patience. So I'm typing out PAY because it does pay. Filled on that, and then just off to the races. Incredible stuff. So this is the open trade on Gilead really fast. I do like that. In fact, looking good, right? Under all your moving averages, gap down. So these people are trapped, anyone that bought in here, plus anyone back here. So I like this. I think this trades down into some support short term, anyways, into 68. The fact that this broke down and held this, I think is going to be a good trade. You have your moving averages moving down as well. No need to get super aggressive with it. Don't try to short down here. Let this retest and see what happens. It's all about probabilities and good risk to reward trades. So let me back up to, someone asked me, do I use the 15-minute intraday? The answer is I do. But I start with a 1 minute chart. Some of the traders in the room, in fact, probably most of the traders in the room, use a 5 minute. So they wait the first 5 minutes. And this comes from realizing over repetitions and their plan that they're more profitable doing that, right? Let some of the volatility shake out. That way you can put on a good risk to reward trade. So I do the 1 minute for the first 15 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes can be pushing it at times. Then I move to the 5 minute until I get to really right now, this 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And then I move to the 15. And for the traders that have been trading with me for months now, know that if I'm in a trade, so let's take this FLT, for example. If I am in this trade, still, this time of day, I get trailed out on the 15. So that wick would have taken me out, and I'm okay with that. A normal move for this would, for this to pull back in here, retest, and Jeremy was talking about a swing trade. That's beautiful, right? Look at that. Coming out of consolidation, just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. You guys get that this morning? I do not use the tick chart. I do not. So here's the thing. I will stare. I've gotten myself into trouble micromanaging trades before. Anyone ever done this? You guys were watching JD this morning. Let me move this gold line. Excuse me. Let me adjust it so it's just not in the way. Making lots of noise. So anyone ever done this? You go back and you start day trading something like JD. only to see that you had some lines back here where you were day trading it. And if you just wouldn't have micromanaged it, you could have, done a swing trade on it and see it way up there. Do it all the time. Anyways, so sometimes if I'm looking to swing trade something, or even day trade it, I just look at the bigger picture. So to answer the question on the tick chart, I do not trade it because it just makes me micromanage too much. Brad said FLT trailed out after it closed below the 5-minute 10 EMA, just like Blake. I mean, Jeremy said it would, Mr. Reed. So what Brad's saying is, oh, excuse me, guys. Was it here, Brad, that you guys got stopped out, or up here? Mike, you're so right. Micromanaging reduces so many profits. So there's a fine line, and that is what you'll realize over the course of your trades. There's a fine line between managing risk and micromanaging trades. And it all comes back to your plan, right? Having a plan, what has worked, most importantly, what fits your personality. And those are the things that you learn by just being involved in the markets. And if you're not an experienced trader or you're new, just trade small. You'll learn. Trade small, get a good mentor. Jeremy has been a phenomenal mentor for me. Whether it's Jeremy, myself, Brad, your neighbor, some guy on TV, doesn't matter. Get a mentor. Get a mentor that is reasonable. And like Jeremy was saying, it doesn't just talk about their profits all the time. What is micromanaging? Let's talk about that for a second. Let me keep an eye on Gilead for us. I think it's just going to go. Well, let's keep this up. All right, so micromanaging. So prime example for micromanaging. Let's say, I don't want to use that example. Let's go over to, this will be a good one. And you guys throw tickers in. We are still trading, and we will still look at them. I just wanted to give you guys some insight of how I see trades, how we trade around things, kind of the personality of the room. So micromanaging, for example, would be, let's say we're trading on the 15-minute chart. And this is just an example. And I'm going to draw some lines for you guys. By the way, I'm here for you guys today. I'm not doing much trading this afternoon because I want to hang out, learn from you guys, and see if I can help you in any way. Okay, you guys are still talking AMD and TWX. Let's take a look. Ooh, Macy's. Macy's was the reason for this whole retail just launch, right? Okay, so going back to the micromanaging would be, say this got you in on, actually, let's go into a 5-minute because more micromanaging tends to happen on the 5-minute. Let's say this breakout right here triggered you in on ticker symbol FLT, and you immediately said, hey, I'm just going to trail on the 5s. Now, if that's in your plan, you do that. But let's say you just move your stop up immediately as soon as that happens, and this wick takes you out for the stock to move all day. So sometimes, what we were saying earlier is, sometimes stick to your plan, keep your stop there. Don't worry about these wicks, these 5-minute wicks, because these things can run all day. Look at the big picture here. Look at the daily. Amazing, right? Do you want to be the person not giving this a chance to continue bullish on the day because you micromanaged? I don't. I've been that guy. I was that guy for years. So that's kind of what we mean behind that statement, but also manage your risk. Yeah, look at the big picture, right? If something has an amazing gap, whether it's up or down, go with the trend. Try to stay in that trend unless something really identifies a problem and it's not working. Seymour, you're exactly right. Okay, so let's look at some of these that you were talking about. I know Jeremy was talking about ticker symbol WDC. So I'm going to hop over to the 15-minute because this is the time frame I use this time of day. More than happy to look at any other time frames for you guys. And Jacob, you are right. Lots of times they have retest. So here is ticker symbol GILD. And if you, for you trading view people or for you people that don't use it, this is my watch list today. Just keeping an eye on these. We're outside of the heavy piece of earnings season, so we're not going to have a lot of crazy movers unless the markets just start dropping and volatility picks up. So the watch list is usually pretty short. All right, so let's look at these. You guys were talking about ticker symbol AMD. All right, you want to talk about me talking about lines? There you go. Entered there, target one. I still have some AMD long term, but that was my trade setup on it. Talking about the 10 SMA, hasn't even closed below it. Yeah, this thing's still breaking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out to the weekly. Beautiful, huh? Incredible trade. So in terms of a day trade, I'm not going to trade this. Not because it can't work, but because of the probabilities for me. A lot of green candles, or in this instance, a lot of white candles. And what I'm looking for in a day trade are pretty decent moves, right? Like the opportunity, I need a 2-to-1 reward to risk at least. So if I put this, above this break of this 1736, let's draw that out. All right. Or you could do a pullback, entry on a pullback, which I'd be more prone to do. But I would need this to pull back all the way in here. But then that puts it under my 10 EMA. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm building a case. I'm trying to figure out why not to trade it. And if I can't come up with any reasons, then I'm going to trade it. But I can see what's happening here. I want this down here for this pullback to see if it can continue lower. That would put it below this moving average. I don't really want any then. So if you're in this for a swing or a longer term, it obviously has some bullish momentum, right? All right, so that's what I was thinking on it. I'm going to leave it alone. I hope that gave you some insight to what I was thinking there. TWX, Time Warner. This is the AT&T deal, right? This is what calls this news. So this would be I would be looking at more of a swing trade on this. We got this gap up. It sold off pretty hard on Friday. So I would be looking for some consolidation, and to be honest, I would see what happens around this 100. I'd probably trade the breakout or this pullback. And then Macy's. Man. Macy's, Lulu, all these guys have been just crushing it. So let's hop back over to Macy's. Brad says, hey, FC, Macy's look like it could go bullish for a quick swing trade. It could also be retesting the previous 2 days' resistance. As old resistance, new support before going higher for a day trade. But I like day trades that have a more aggressive bullish edge than this. And I agree with Brad. So as I was just saying, once something closed below the 10 SMA right here, this gold line, I'm not quite as bullish. So I want to see this pull back into this area. So what I'll do is I'll keep this on my list. Boom, flag. I'm going to flag this and go back. I'm going to set some reminders in this area and see if we can get a pullback here. I'll either trade some options or I'll grab some shares for a swing trade. I'm not going to day trade this. That's not completely bullish, but that's pretty controlled pullback. You don't have this rounding pattern here, but it's neutral for me. You guys will see that I'm very picky, especially this time of day, on what I'm going to day trade. And that's the way it should be. Not everything's tradable. So we'll talk about some swing trades. But in terms of day trades, not everything's tradable this time of day for me. In fact, there's way less. Not to mention we're out of earnings season. Just picky. Michael says, thoughts on shorting Intel? Let's take a look. Oh, Michael, I like it. Seymour says, don't do it. To all panelists, he says, don't do it. So if I were to do something, this looks like support right below VWAP. I'd have to let it break that and this one. Right? So something like this with that coming down. The problem is, I was looking at this earlier with you guys. You see what happens every time it gets right below this 50 SMA? It kind of gets balled up. And stocks have personalities. They tend to do a lot of the same things, right? I actually don't know the story on Intel. This morning, I'll do like matching fund. Intel stock downgraded what you need to know. So who downgraded it? Northland sees Catalyst. I don't know if that's for them or not, but Seymour, you're thinking along the same lines of me. Hey, every time it gets down here, it gets balled up. And if you look at the overall markets, the Qs, so ticker symbol QQQ is just an indice for these large cap tech names. And then the Russell, more of the smaller caps, they're much stronger than the overall S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, right? So tech names still leading the way. I'm going to be very hesitant to short those guys. I'm going to stay with the trend. Yeah, absolutely. I could go through VWAP. Let's look at a trade that we're looking for. So VWAP, we talk about VWAP a lot, actually. VWAP means volume weighted average price. Very effective on the open. So out here, or back here rather. Extremely important because it uses volume to give you a moving average as well. So it's weighted based on the volume. So if you have some crazy uptick and there's no volume there, it's not really going to affect this indicator or this study very much. So I did trade in New York on a desk, and I just know from some of the institutional guys, they need some way, some metric to kind of grade some of their trades. Like, how do we grade our trades? How do we do this? And they use VWAP a lot. Very, very common indicator to use. So the thought is, hey, if I buy below VWAP and sell above it, that's a good trade. If I sell above it and then buy below it, it's a good trade. So you can kind of use it as a line in the sand, and you can kind of see what starts to happen. You have this battle here happening, and then the sellers are starting to win, right? So there was your breakdown. And now you can kind of turn to the moving averages to watch your trend. Yeah, Seymour. New York's, man, it's crazy. It's just crazy seeing all the different participants in the market. And what I think the thing I learned most from trading at the firm was there are no two traders that have the same trading style that I have seen. There's always something that's a little different. And they do that to match their personalities. If you're a real fast guy, you like being at the computer a lot, you may day trade a little bit more, you may scalp a little bit more, but make sure your strategy works. If you hate being at the computer, do something like sell some puts very passively, and with the understanding of, what your potential gains could be. That could work for you. All right, guys, I'm going to catch up on the chat. So throw anything in there you want me to talk about or take a look at. Yep, Seymour, if you're cool, just throw to all panelists and attendees so we can see everyone's awesome comments and questions. Benjamin's calling out S&P 500 breaking down. Maybe. So the overall trend, so I use the daily. The daily is my guide. It's kind of my, I'm not going to say the holy grail because There is no holy grail in trading. Like Jerremy, I lose more times than I win. But when we win bigger than we lose. That's for sure. We're very consistent. But if I'm looking at this, I can't go bearish on this. If you need to hedge because your portfolio is long, I can see where you may start having some bearish sentiment coming in. But this is really still above VWAP for me. I know this 10 EMA is coming down on a little bit, but it's just kind of in a neutral territory. All right. I can't get over my fear of shorting. Sorry, man. It's very easy to overcome. Just place a stop. Yes. So Jeremy's talking to Seymour. Seymour says, hey, I can't get over my fear of shorting. Jeremy says, hey, man, it's cool. Just put your stop in there. Take out the emotions. Just let the setup do its thing. So Seymour, Jeremy's exactly right. You know, let's go back to, say, Gilead. Jerremy, if you're, are you still going to keep this setup open? So if you have a fear of shorting, do exactly what Jerremy said. Let it execute, keep your stop, and just get stopped out. You lose an R. No big deal. That's expected. You should expect to lose sometimes. In fact, be ready to lose every single time. It's part of it. I was saying last week, I said, man, I'm a really good loser these days. Being a good trader, especially a shorter term trader, when I say shorter term, day trading and a couple weeks on your swings, you got to be a good loser. Seymour says, my fear is I feel I buy out as soon as I short. Yep, so just stick to the plan. Try to take the emotions out of it. It's hard not to be emotional. I get it because of the money. The money represents things in our lives, right? Your car, your home, that nice dinner you get to take your spouse to, retirement early, they all represent things. But if you can just take that out and view it more as a point system. And remember, like Jeremy was saying, you can't control what this thing's going to do. Well, maybe some of you guys can, but I know I can't. I don't have the bankroll like that. But the one thing I can control is my plan. And critiquing my plan to fit those things, my personality, good probability trades, and more importantly than anything, risk management. Lynn, welcome. Thanks for joining us. So Lynn posted to all panelists. Lynn, if you want to, you can change to all panelists and attendees, and we can all see your awesome questions and comments. She says that she's the first time with RLT. So I'm clapping. What is the charting platform you're using? This is TradingView. So you can see up here, tradingview.com. Awesome platform. It's web-based, so you can pull it up from anywhere. Keeps up with your watch list. So if you look over here, I have all my watch lists. I go through these and scan. Crypto, watch list, dividend names, ETFs, marijuana stocks, oil names, all these. Great at keeping up with the list for you. Great at indicators, and it's a very social platform. So if I go over here, look at that, Mr. Newsom with all his trade ideas. We are very open about our trading ideas, results, and we plan them out way in advance. We're not those people that said, oh, I was in, by the way. This thing made new highs. I was in. I bought down here. I'm not going to say, hey, I shorted Gilead right here. Nope. We're going to let you guys know beforehand what we're thinking. You guys are talking about HRB. This had a gap down. I can remember last week. Whew. That looks bearish, right? Seymour, like you, I'm not very keen on shorting shares overnight. So I would look to buy some puts, sell some calls, something along those lines with options. We have any options traders in here? Trade options a lot. I love options. All right, guys, just catching up. Lynn, yep, Brad posted the link for TradingView in the chat. Santos, so on VWAP on here, I think it's just, yeah, offset 0. So I basically just use the default. All right, guys, I'm going to fly through some of these questions, try to get everyone's answered. Judy's talking about Western Digital. Yep. Daily looks good. We were talking about that. There's the break. I would rather see this break and then retest. That rounding pattern, I love for a continued breakdown. The problem is it's above VWAP for me. For day trades, I like to see a very prominent trend. So I want this to go down. And this is pretty bullish, honestly. So I'm neutral on this. The daily tells me bearish. This tells me neutral. Jeremy's all over it, though. Jeremy's going in for it. Overall, I'm very bearish, fundamentally speaking, on Western Digital. Excuse me, Western Digital as well. Ticker symbol WDC. Yep, man, you guys are beating me. Yeah, a lot of option traders in here. Only options for Mr. Mike. Frank says 99% options. Yeah, I am curious, Frank. Buying or selling? Armando, sorry I jumped in late, but I did see that for daily time frame, 1050 and 200 EMA. Armando, I use simple moving average, but most people in the room do use exponential. It's just a preference. You trade spreads? Both. I trade both as well. Woo. Whoa, SC, what was the news on this? Oh, buyout? That looks like buyout. It has buyout written all over it. Oh, yep, there you go. Going private, it looks like. All right. Those are fun to be in, right? We were talking last week about people that had a little bit of fear of holding some swings overnight because of gap downs and such. It's like these will go both ways for you. If you trade long enough and just do a good job of managing risk, these gap ups, these gap downs, again, you can't control that. That's part of trading. They'll go, they'll even out over time. All right, guys, let's go back to a few others. Anyone still in FLT? I will most certainly keep it at the top of the list and help you guys manage it. This is one thing we do great is, even if we're not in it, we're going to give you guys some feedback to help you manage it. FC, do you trade or leave it alone? FC, I don't trade it. I leave it alone. It's not going to move much anyways. If it was a buyout rumor, it would be more tradable. But the fact that it is a buyout, it's just going to trade in that range. Ticker symbol AAPL. Yep, no problem. There is Apple. I know that we have some calls longer term. Jeremy was talking about possibly shorting or buying some puts in another brokerage. And I'm terrible at shorting Apple. Terrible. So I don't do it. Brad says, going to the doctor. So Brad is an animal doing jiu-jitsu? Or what is it, Brad, that you do? Anyways, he beats people up that's his part-time job. And I think he hurt his neck. See you, Brad. You'll get to spend some time with Brad this week. Jeremy was giving me quite the introduction. The truth is Brad, Jeremy, LaToya, they're the stars of the show. All right, there's that Intel setup. Some people said, I think, was it Seymour that was saying, hey, don't do it because this thing has a personality. That's what it looks like on the intraday. So intraday definitely looks bearish if it breaks down here. I'm not going to trade it, though, just because of exactly what Seymour said. There is Gilead. This was the setup that Mr. Newsom had. He said, this break, let's see if it can retest and push down. And this thing just kind of kept going, right? So we'll see if this fades back up in here intraday. Mr. Newsom will let us know if he takes this off, but this is the current setup. Cool thing is, right, we've had this thing open for 20 to 30 minutes. So we've had plenty of time to prepare. IONS, ticker symbol IONS, is one that I was looking at earlier. That's the daily. It doesn't look too bearish intraday. And you know why? Because there's not a lot of people trapped anymore. Just not a ton. I know it's a few days, a few weeks, but there's no real panic yet. So I'm not going to trade that one today. I will keep it on the list, see if something happens. You guys were talking about Valiant. Ticker symbol VRX. Anytime there's the FDA declines in approval, that's not good. We saw that recently in, I'm trying to think of the ticker on that one. I'd have to scan back through, but yeah, not good at all. I would expect this one to continue down, at least to here, because these pharmaceutical and biotech companies can really move. Mylan was a swing trade that I had on, and I got stopped out on this day for pretty much the same reason. They released great news, and then the FDA came out and said, you know, something is not right. Speaking of, you guys want to take a quick look at some of the swing trades I have. Teva, ticker symbol TEVA, Teva Pharmaceuticals. Goldman Sachs released, hey, they're taking a stake here. And then Warren Buffett came out and said, hey, it wasn't my idea. They had great earnings, good risk reward trade there. Seymour said, I've read and viewed videos and talked to just about every so-called mentor out there, and Jerremy and his team. What you see is what you get. No secrets. He genuinely cares that you are profitable, not just as a trader, but as a person in general. I never knew him before the first time I texted him, and he responded to me all times I text him. I'm impressed, and it takes a lot to impress me. Seymour, he got me too, man. So he was saying earlier, hey, I'm not a great salesman. It's true. He's just a great dude, great person. And that is so true. We don't, none of us drive Lambos and stuff like that, but this is what we do for a living. We're very real with our expectations. It's kept us in the game a long time. And our strategies, pretty simple when you break them down and you do enough reps. Same thing though, Seymour, taking every trading education out there. And I lost for like a year and a half. I broke even for another year and a half. Until I was able to become a profitable trader. And it was just basically getting the right mentors, being around the right people, learning who I am as a trader. The psychology is such a big part, and having reasonable expectations. Oh, man, you guys are awesome. This is family for me, no question about it. So we appreciate all the comments. And such a great team. So Armando is talking about ticker symbol SPX, which is the bear leveraged ETF. Yep. So great hedging opportunity. So sometimes I'll also trade something like ticker symbol UVXY, which I won't spend a lot of time on this. But if the markets are gapping down, these can be great trades, right? This thing went from like $10 to $30. But I will say, Armando, some of the best money that's ever been made in these markets is shorting volatility or being long the markets. So, Armando, I use these instruments if I am long a lot of swing trades and need to pick up a little bit of short delta so I don't just get crushed on down days. Yes, sir, no problem. Let's hop back over to ticker symbol GILD. Nothing much happening there. There's JD. Some of you guys are trading it early. So I really like JD. I'm mad at myself because I wanted some of this up in here before all of this started to happen. But if you guys are swing trading this, I want you guys to take a look at something. Plenty of room to move long term. So when you enter a trade, make sure you define what kind of trade it is, right? Am I day trading this? Am I buying to invest? Or am I swing trading this? They all look very, very different. Your stops are going to be different. Your strategy is going to be a little bit different, just based off the time frame. So for me, I'm building a longer term position in this. Saw the day trade today. Could see what all you guys were looking at. This is very controlled. If you're trading longer term, nothing to be worried about. All right. Just going to keep reading through some of these. I agree. Great dude. Armando says, thanks. You're welcome. Seymour says, well, truth is real life reading was the first company I came across, and I would have had to go elsewhere. So I kept searching. Yep. And who else just puts out free content? He puts out so much free content. It's awesome. James says, people do care about each other in the RLT family. I don't think I can say that about all my immediate family. It's true. You guys reach out to Jerremy. Jerremy loves Jerremy in his now. Everyone should reach out and say congrats to Jerremy. He just got engaged this past weekend. But his now fiance, they travel a lot, and they never go to a city without finding people in the room and part of the community, saying hey, hanging out with them. It's just phenomenal. Benjamin said, good call on the SPY. Looks like it's bouncing. Yeah. Probably just going to hang out. We're not in a very volatile time unless like Trump comes out and tweets something or something geopolitically happens. We're outside of earnings season. Wouldn't expect anything too crazy here. So Jerremy says he's canceling Gilead. So I think I know what Jeremy's saying. He said, hey, he really wanted this to happen more quickly, bounce down. Now we're getting in a time of day where this could just fade up. And that would be a perfectly normal trade. He doesn't want to take up his mental capacity just sitting in that. So we're going to cancel Gilead. So anyone that had that set up, we will help you manage it for sure if you want to keep it on. But officially, meaning it will not go on here, we're going to cancel it. Everyone cool with that? If you're not, let me know. We'll watch it for you. Jeremy is posting, just FYI, going to take this trade on Intel. Let's take a look. So this is another cool part about TradingView. You can click on a link, and it gives the setup. So let's look at this. Jeremy sees this trend line break, moving averages come down, and you see what we're doing here. We're really just building a case to take this trade. We saw the daily gap down. Okay, either people taking some profits if they were short, or just buying it up as value guys. Maybe the buyers are exhausted for now. There's the break, and he expects that. Will it work? We don't know. We have no idea, but it's not about that. It's all about the risk to reward probability setup, right? So anyone wants to take this with Jeremy, his bearish stop limit, which means his trigger will go off at 52.82, and then maybe he says something like, hey, you can fill me all the way to 52.79. So that'd be his limit. I don't know if those are his exact numbers, but that's an example. Everyone use stop limit orders, or do you guys just mark it in? If anyone's curious what that is, that's a Citron report I was reading on Netflix. All right, so let's look at that. Jeremy, I like it. So something very similar to that. Now, if I take a trade this time of day, I want to be able to get at least one R, and I heard you guys discussing what R means. Something like that. So you can get at least one R down to this area, which is the low of the day. If I had to be down here to get one R, I wouldn't take that. Not because it can't do it, but just because the probability isn't there. So this is Mr. Newsom's setup. Brandon says, I'm glad RLT was the first place I looked to learn, recommended by the gentleman by the name of Steve Gill. Shout out, Steve. I don't know if he is still part of the room. He taught a class about business opportunities for veterans, and he mentioned things he did on the side. That's awesome. What a testament, right? A guy that has no affiliation besides just taking some education from real life trading. Jacob says, I see a lot of traders putting out videos of their trades, but not explaining their stats. That's when they try to sell the product. Yep. And I'll be the first to say that I've been suckered into some of that stuff. But the problem is expectations. Some people have these crazy expectations. But you must remember, if you're going to risk a lot, there's a cost to that, right? If you're risking a lot and not playing by some rules or some strategy, there's really only two. I would say I've been exposed to probably 400 or 500 traders and their strategies, and I've only seen two in my entire life, and they're at a big firm in New York that are able to just put crazy risk on at places and make money. So I'm not one of those. I trade for a living, and I'm not one of those that can do that. Just not my styles. And I'll tell you, most people will not be able to do that. So this is what it's about. How many losses do you see that are more than like 1.1 R? There's not many. And this is just small slippage stuff. This is going to happen. So if you look through all the trades, you're going to see small losers and you're going to see some big winners. 1.69, 2.14, 1.64, 1.46. Everything over one, that's what's going to end up making it, making your months and stuff. And then 8 Rs. All right, so this is the only trade that Jerremy has open for now. I do like it. I'm not going to take it just because I'm on the same page with the fact that this has a personality that could get balled up here. Seymour, yes. Jerremy he's not short yet, but this will trigger him in. I think maybe you're right there. So this look. Something like that. And this is what my first target would be. I'm not sure what his is. FC says, yep, I use stop limit. Jacob says, only use limit or stop limit. I agree. Lawrence is asking, so how do you set limit prices on stop limit order? So what you would do, Lawrence, is you would put a stop order. So you go to stop limit in your broker. Your stop order would be 52.82 or wherever you put this. And then your limit would be 52, say 80. So you're only going to give it 2 cents to get away from you. Because if this drops way down here, you don't want it to fill you short down here. So you put a limit on it. So you have two different orders. You have one that says, hey, you alert your broker, I want to be executed, which would be your stop order. And then the limit order would be how much you're wanting to allow it to give you slippage. Does that make sense? And hold on. I think I have some good videos I can post on that. Let's see. Yep. So coming in about 5 seconds, I'll post a link to, well, if I can copy it. All right, it looks like some people are getting filled. So there's a link. Jerremy did a little class. I think Brad may have done that. So there is, Lawrence, if you want to take a look at that link. Yep, Jacob helped answer. FC says, Blake, on this Intel setup, how do you set the order up for it to trigger at a lower price? I'm having trouble with that and it being triggered as soon as I send. So just make sure if you're shorting that you put it below the current price and make sure it's not a market order. That's probably what's happening is you're just doing a market. So make sure it's a limit order stop down here below the price. Robert said, nice. Brennan says, Blake, what are your thoughts on a Microsoft bearish? I know I'm late to this. 100. So this is what Brandon is looking at. 144 by 169. I like the intraday. So the daily for me, it's in a range. So I'm going to leave it alone. I see what you're seeing, though. And tech is starting to pull back a little bit. But, Brandon, you know me, man. I get picky this time of day. Super picky. I almost trade things this time of day as if I was going to swing it. Michael. Blake said, or he's asking me, what do you mean by personality? So, Michael, you know, there's a lot of stocks out there that, well, let's go back to Intel. A lot of them trade very similarly. We have some traders that won't even trade Tesla because it's just too volatile, or it has a personality that just doesn't mix with their style. And yes, this is a metaphor for sure. But there's some stocks that, you know, a lot of these penny stocks, they do a lot of the same thing, right? They go up, they have these huge spikes, and they come down. So when you trade long enough and you trade names enough, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, any of these names, a lot of traders trade ticker symbol MU. We have one trader who pretty much trades one name for the most part, Shopify. They know the personality of these stocks. You know, a lot of the same traders and stuff trade the same stocks, so they'll have these personalities. And that's just a term we put on it. But they have a tendency to kind of act the same way. So you guys are talking about Intel. Let's keep an eye on it. So let's talk about this for a second. Why is this a good trade? Does anyone know for a fact that it's going to make it down here? Does anyone know that? Nope. No one knows. That's what makes the market beautiful. That's why we play it. There's a lot of gamification in it. But what we do know is that this is a good risk to reward trade based off of this pattern. This is in Jeremy's plan. It's breaking down, and he's okay losing here because the truth is if this gets back above 53, there's a good chance that it just continues to trend up. So what we saw is, hey, there's a great opportunity to be short here. And what's going to end up happening is if this trade stays down long enough or it gets into target one, guess what you get to do? You ready? Ooh, you get to move your stop down. Now you lose less than an R. Right? And that's the goal. Continue to lose less and less and give these things a chance. You just set up a good probability trade. It's like going to people will use gambling as a comparison. Hey, sure, why not? Let's call the stock market a casino. Sure, why not? But anyone that's familiar with blackjack or anything, you know that there's a time to double down. You know that there's a time to hit, there's a time not to hit. It's the same thing with trading. You know there's a time to put on a trade based off of probabilities. And that's what we do. You have the opportunity to, we'll call it so-called gamble, but basically control the probabilities. All right, so you guys are talking about BBL for a swing trade. Got to do some actual work. All right, Brian. Benjamin said, filled on Intel. There's the link. Just put sell, not buy. Seymour, I do a lot of put selling for sure. More than happy to discuss put selling with you guys. One of my go-to swing strategies. Jeremy did say, hey, I'm filled on Intel. I'll be out of this one quickly if she doesn't work. I agree, Jeremy. Neil says in on Intel as well. Target one, 52.54. Okay, so let's put that on there. Jeremy will be back with you guys shortly, so you guys can keep an eye on that with him. There's target one for Mr. Newsom. Oh, going to exit all. So we'll exit all. There you have it. At target number uno, Jeremy says, I'll just take that 1R. Risk well-defined. Yep. Jacob says, but it's not a decent S-curve. Yep, I agree. So Jacob, this time of day, if something has downward trend or upward trend, and you get this pullback and it breaks at 15, to me it's a fantastic trade. Or let's say you were bullish here for some reason, that's a good time to get stopped out. Michael says, Blake, gotcha. I like trading the same stock or stocks to get better acquainted with it. Michael, I'm the same way. I have a go-to list. You'll see down here, swings, and it has my favorites. I scan them every single day. Mainly because I'm a stock nerd, but Seymour says, nope, I'm not taking Intel. Seymour saw the same thing I did. Michael said, yes, yes, yes. Actually, yes, 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 yes. Seymour says, just be the house. They never lose. Hey, that goes back to selling puts, right? You're selling. You're selling those buyers of those puts. You're selling the insurance. Yes, Ash, 52.54. Seymour says AMD every day for me. AMD's on that list. You got it. Rom says holding 50% position on FLT, exited 50% at 219.25. So Rom, I know what you're doing, my man, and I like it. You said, hey, that's cool. I'm going to take this day trade, but now I'm going to turn it into a swing trade. You guys just realize, and Rom is a phenomenal new trader, so far more advanced than I was as a new trader. He said, yep, I'll take some profits here. Now I'm going to ride it out for a swing trade. Now, just make sure you take notes of that and grade that in a way that you can keep statistics. Yeah, Jeremy says, keep holding some of those shares. I agree. I love it. Because a lot of the times I'm trying to think, now obviously this wouldn't be profitable now, but some that I remember trading that just never looked back that went FSLR. How about Shake Shack? Earnings right in here. I remember trading this and getting some awesome gains, and then I just ended up selling, and sometimes they run. Man, I spend so much money when I go to Shake Shack. It's crazy. It's been like $22. Seymour is asking Rom, are you in India? Just asking because I know it's an Indian name. I met a French guy in Panama named Rom. That's the only way I knew how to pronounce it correctly. Ron says nope. All right, guys, I have one more minute with you fine people. It's been awesome. Hope everyone's enjoyed everything thus far. Jeremy's crushing it today, like he does every day.
I don't know, man. Just trying to be like you.
Don't do that. You stay true to yourself. You're my mentor.
That's right, dude.
So when are you moving your stop down on Intel, or are you just going to exit if it doesn't work soon?
Yeah, I'll leave my stop probably alone for 20 minutes or so. This could be a late in the afternoon play, but I'm going to be relatively aggressive on it because it's Intel, right? It's only going to go so far down today.
Yep, I agree.
So I do like the move we got.
That goes back to some stocks have certain personalities, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. Leon says, where are you at? Where are you at right now?
I am actually at my sister's place in Alabama. I live in Colorado, Leon. I'll be headed back there, I think, late this week or next week.
Gotcha.
So if anyone here is in Colorado or Alabama right now, maybe in Nashville this weekend, Mr. Newsom, are you going to be around?
This weekend, no, I'm going to be in Orlando, actually.
You guys see what I mean by Jeremy always traveling. So if anyone is in Denver or in the South right now, let me know. Would be more than happy to hang out with everyone or talk some trading, whatever.
Heck yeah, man. I love it, dude. Thanks so much for rocking that out. You are the man.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Trade smart out there.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right. See ya.
All right.